Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if anyone else has been following this whole saga with the Cybertruck bomber. The person I'm referencing was the one that presumably set off the bomb in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. Apparently, they're reporting that he had already shot himself, so he was already dead. And then the bomb detonated, whether or not he detonated it right when he pulled up to Trump Tower or not. But this email is really interesting. This was an email that was sent by the bomber, supposedly on the 31st. So this would have been about a day before the event actually happened to where he died. So basically like 24 hours before he died. And within this email, he alleges, because this was a member of the military, he alleges that there were war crimes committed in Afghanistan in 2019 that were covered up, and that he was being followed by people within the U.S. government. And you can see immediately he references that in case he doesn't reach his decision point or onto the Mexico border, he is sending this now. And again, he's sending it a day before he blows up in a Cybertruck. He says that in case I don't reach my decision point or return or to the Mexican border, I don't know if he was going to flee to Mexico or what was going on. There's another map I want to show talking about the route that he took. He also is trying to get this email to someone, to Sean Ryan or someone else, high level within the military that has connections. He also requested to get this to Hegseth as well. But in this, he talks about the drones that we've been seeing. And just to give everyone a little update on the drones, I think we all thought before Christmas, before the holidays, this was like, I want to say right after Thanksgiving, the whole drone things comes out. And it's a little bit of there's nothing in the news. People want to talk about something. And also it's just a weird situation. But there were the drones, and I think everyone assumed they were American, because why else would we allow foreign drones to come into our airspace? But then again, we allowed the spy balloon. Well, he's saying this is a technology that only us and China have, and these are Chinese drones that are being flown as a show of force, just like they did with the spy balloon. And look, people can say, well, this is who cares what this person says? I mean, this is kind of interesting that he's sending out this email a day before his Cybertruck blows up in, presumably, I mean, some people are saying, well, they killed him and then they put him in the truck, and then the truck drove itself, because it's a Cybertruck, to Trump Tower and then blew up in front of Trump Tower. The symbolism is pretty crazy. A Cybertruck, Elon Musk, in front of Trump Tower. That's Donald Trump, that's Elon Musk, two of the most powerful people right now. You could argue once January 20th comes, possibly the two most powerful people in the United States, with Elon Musk influencing Trump, with Trump being the president, basically having a mandate, winning the popular vote. But he alleges that these are Chinese drones using a new technology that has not been released to the public, and that he says the government needs to warn the citizens. And then he also says in this second page here, he also says that there were war crimes that were covered up in a province in Afghanistan in 2019. He says he conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings, 65 were struck, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. And apparently they covered it up. And then he talks about his LinkedIn being Matt Berg and his qualifications and everything like that. So nonetheless, a very interesting email to be alleging all of this. And then we know what happened the exact next day, saying he was possibly going to try and flee to Mexico. By the way, this also checks out. He says in this email that he could meet to do an interview in Flagstaff, Arizona. And then you look at his where he went, you can see, I don't know the exact date of this, but this would probably be somewhere in between the 31st and the 1st. He was in Flagstaff, Arizona. So, I mean, this does line up. And the people that leaked this, it wouldn't make sense for it to be fake or anything like that. Nonetheless, this is very interesting. Whether or not they are, Chinese drones, I'm not sure I understand the overlap. Like, I could understand him being a potential whistleblower. There's a lot of things that are still cloudy. Like, it seemed like he was referencing in the email trying to escape and that the government was watching him. But then why would he blow himself up in front of Trump Tower? It really just doesn't add up. So there's a lot of unknown, but nonetheless, a very strange email to be alleging that they are Chinese drones. It's technology that China and the United States have had for years, but they won't tell the general public about. And then it's interesting. How does that relate to you blowing the whistle on potential war crimes committed in Afghanistan with the government watching you? It is kind of an odd thing. And then you've also got this is an email from him. You can see this is where he says, I'm willing to sit down with you on the 31st in Flagstaff. So he says he's willing to do that remotely via phone. Must be done before the 31st as I'm leaving. And then you can see he was in Flagstaff at a certain point. Looks like that's a burned some type of maybe passport or ID there. This is him in Vegas. I would imagine this would be on the morning. It doesn't say the exact time. This is him at a Tesla charging station with the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck was rented. So that's another thing. It's like, you're renting a Cybertruck. That's going to have to be investigated. And there you can see, looks like he's cleaning off something within the Cybertruck. Everyone obviously analyzing this just because these are like the final hours, I would imagine. If he's in Vegas at this point, it's probably, I would imagine, the morning of the 1st. And this is something that happened at, I don't know the exact local time in Vegas, but I remember waking up and it happened maybe like 8 or 9 o'clock because it was sunny out of the local time in Vegas when the truck actually blew up. And they did originally, there were liberals trying to blame Elon Musk just because they hate Musk, saying it was a battery, but obviously it's been confirmed by Tesla, by Musk, and also by the security video. If you look at the car blow up. And by the way, he also, in the email, he references that he has a car bomb. In the email, he says that. So all of this is very interesting. There's no doubt about it. You can see apparently his wife broke up with him last week, and then this happened, according to law enforcement sources. And there's other things here. His wife broke up with him around Christmas after she accused him of cheating. They had a baby daughter together. So maybe that plays into it as well. If you just had a breakup, you're dealing with that. That could, that could lean credence to the whole idea. Well, this was kind of a sporadic individual, if that is true. But a lot of this doesn't add up. They say he was a conservative thinker. What's the symbolism doing it in front of Trump Tower in Cybertruck, which obviously is people relate to Elon Musk? I don't know. And then that email as well. Who knows? It's a strange situation, but these are just some of the things that have come out recently in regards to it. And then, of course, you do have the overlap with the terrorist event in New Orleans that killed 10 people. The individual who did that potentially knew the Cybertruck car bomber because they were in the same unit of the military. Now, whether or not that's true and they actually spoke together, it seems like an odd coincidence for that to be happening. I'm sure we're going to really learn nothing. I understand people are saying, well, it's early, wait for stuff to come out. But most of us know these type of things. They just don't tell the public anything. Go back to Thomas Crooks. What do we know about him? We're just going to know nothing about the situation. None of it adds up. But either way, I did want to share that because that was a pretty crazy email. So that email comes out. He talks about China they're the ones with the drones. They're doing it as a show of force. It's technology that they won't tell the American public. And he basically said that China could bomb DC and there's nothing we could do about it because of the new technology with the drones. And during all of this, his wife breaks up with him. It's just a total mess. And then the Cybertruck incident. So saying that he wanted to go to possibly the Mexican border to flee there, talking about the war crimes in Afghanistan, and maybe that's a reason. But it's like, I understand people are saying, well, what if, because apparently he very easily could have drove to a spot, like, you drive to the valet area of Trump Tower, like we saw in the surveillance, shot himself. Although, honestly, do you think they would hear the gunshot? That's another thing that needs to be about, because you think there'd be people around there. You could hear a gunshot, the dude shoots himself, and then, or he detonates it, so there's a timer, maybe a 30-second timer, shoots himself, and then the timer goes off. Who really knows? But this is all very interesting, and I'm sure maybe there'll be new information that trickles out because of this email leak, but a lot of this we're just not going to know the answer to, and it's just the way it is with the government. It's just too many times it's happened, so none of it really makes sense. You could say, well, he's sporadic because his wife broke up with him and he was in a bad place. but alleging the things that he was alleging, and then being inside of a Cybertruck, being already dead, and then a Cybertruck exploding in front of Trump Tower 20 days before Trump takes office. I mean, what are we really talking about here? This is some very odd stuff. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.